Earth Song is a great text about our earth and the things that are not so good and also the good, but beautifully poetically written. Frank Ticheli is the poet and also the composer of the music.
It looks like this. You can come a bit closer if you like, have a look. It's really hard seeds, grain like that. We can't get that, it's very, very hard. We can't get that open easily, so we need to somehow get into the lovely flavours inside. So what we do is we call it steeping. So we put it in water and we drain it, we do this several times, and the barley thinks, oh, it must be a Scottish spring because I'm getting wet and dry, wet and dry, it must be a spring. So it jumps into life, which we call germination, and then you get the barley that looks like this, and it has little whiskers on it, little white spots, and that's it germinating, and that's now called green barley. So that's the next stage of the process. We have our germination. Now if we were to let it germinate, it would end up growing into a big plant. We'd lose all the goodness inside. So we need to harness that, we need to stop that process. So what we do is we use hot air, and this is called malting or kilning, that's another word, because of course you're using a kiln. So this is our first decision point at Glenkinchie. Do we use peat, or do we not use peat? Now on the west coast of Scotland and the islands, they didn't have access to coal. Here you still didn't have lots and lots of coal, so we would have used coke, as I say. So that's the first decision. If you taste a whiskey and it's smoky, you can be almost guaranteed that it's come from the West Highlands or the islands. Okay, so that's a big decision point we made right there. So once we dried out our barley, we need to mill it. And it turns out in what we call the grist of the mill. You might have heard of that term. And it splits into three sections. You have the husks, you have the grit, and you have the flour. And that's another decision point here, and that every distillery is what combination of those three elements do you then put into your mash tun? Okay? When we say a mash tun, it's this huge big tank through this window, but we like to use the analogy of making coffee. So if you think of it like a big coffee press, you put what we call the grist, the mill, in the bottom, and we fill it with hot water. We do it 3 times, it gets hotter and hotter, and we're draining off all the water as we go, and that ultimately turns into what we call wort. This is non-alcoholic, it's very sticky and sugary water, okay? So that's the first stages. What's left over at the bottom, if this was a coffee, your coffee grounds, which you would compost perhaps, but here we actually take it away and we make cattle feed, so then we can put it back into the system. And this is exactly what the Wright brothers used to do, but obviously on a much smaller local scale. So we're still doing that, we're very proud of that. Okay, so we're going to go next door and look at our mill. It's a wee bit bigger than this one, so if you watch your step here please.